Andrea Albin, and you're listening to The Morbidly Made, where the fans are in control.
Stephen King, author of Carrie, said, "Evil Dead is the most ferociously original horror film of the year."
Since I began excavating the ruins of Kandar with a group of my colleagues. Now my wife and I have retreated to a small cabin in the solitude of these mountains. Here I continued my research undisturbed by the myriad distractions of modern civilization and far from the groves of academe. I believe I have made a significant find in the Kandarian ruins, a volume of ancient Sumerian burial practices and funerary incantations. It is entitled Naturan de Manto, roughly translated, Book of the Dead. The book is bound in human flesh and inked in human blood. It deals with demons, demon resurrection, and those forces which roam the forest and dark bowers of man's domain. The first few pages warn that these enduring creatures may lie dormant, but are never truly dead. They may be recalled to active life through the incantations presented in this book. It is through recitation of these passages that the demons are given license to possess the living. Atra amistrobin hazarta. Tatir mano mansizon hazan sobar. Saman Dar his hiker dans de roza. Kandar.
This is the first episode of the Evil Dead series retrospective in celebration.
Wait, Mike, wait. You fucking seriously just played the translation from the Necronomicon.
I did.
Dude, what the fuck are you thinking? Are you nuts?
And I don't know the words. I could recite it right here for you if you want.
No, dude, you don't fuck around with that shit.
Well, see, John, here in reality, it's called The Evil Dead is just a movie. There are no Kandarian demons. They don't exist.
Dude, it may just be a movie, but there's freaky shit out there that you don't fuck with. Did you ever watch The Gate? Man, shit happens. Paranormal Activity, the first one, not the rest of them, because they fucking suck donkey. But dude, wait. Did you hear something?
I didn't hear anything. Do we have to put you in a rubber room with a straight jacket?
I swear to God, I just fucking heard something.
I did not hear it.
Dude, okay. So, what were you saying, Mike?
So I was saying that I really think that you have issues. But yes, this is the first Evil Dead retrospective. We're going to talk about the first movie. We have, it's just a really nice interview going to be coming up soon, I would think. It's going to be a fun time, I think, don't you?
I'm really hoping it is. I'm sorry, I'm just a little thrown by what just happened, but I could have swore I just heard something in my house before, and that really threw me. But yeah, I'm really excited about. Dude, there it is. Dude, no, fucking cut. I'm done with this shit. We're fucking moving on. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm not dealing with this.
So wait, no Evil Dead retrospective?
No. We are fucking doing that shit because there's no way I'm not diving into that. But dude, I'm not messing with the join us bullshit. No, I've seen the movies way too many times to know how that turns out. So, deuces.
We had the chance to sit down with Fede Alvarez, writer-director of the Evil Dead remake, and we got so many scoops that instead of putting it on to our remake retrospective, we decided to play it here. So enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my huge honor to introduce the person helming the Evil Dead remake, writer-director Fede Alvarez. Fede, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, we're honored.
Thank you.
I have to ask, kind of, first off, how did you actually get involved in making horror films?
Since I started making shorts, I think it got to a point, because I started very early. My first things were like stop motion shorts with, Playmobiles and action and Star Wars action figures and shit. So when it gets to a moment when you're like, I think when you're a teenager and you keep shooting, and kind of every short will kind of reflect what you're going through, right? It's a good way to kind of channel in whatever's going on through your life. So I guess probably when I was, around 18, 19, my stuff started getting a little bit more violent, maybe. and I think I did a pretty, gross one when I was around 20, 24, 25, something like that. I always really enjoyed genre, and I always been a fan of horror films when I was a kid, particularly when I was a kid. When I just got a really addiction to horror when I was 12, 13. I started watching every horror movie I could get a hold on, and really, that's how I discovered the original Evil Dead, actually. So it's something that I love. It's really, I always enjoyed horror, and when when I had a chance to do shorts and all, of course, eventually I will end up making a horror short, and I did. I'll say there's one of them is pretty horrific, and then of course, Evil Dead, right?
Yeah. You mentioned the original, how you discovered it. Were you a fan of the original?
Yeah, I was. Well, no, I can't say a fan, because a fan is something that you discover. Being a fan of, in particular, something like Evil Dead is something that comes later. I don't think nobody would have seen the first one and become an instant fan. That's something that kind of grow on you. But after a while, you look at it back, and then you realize that other people that remember the same movie that you do. So I watched it when I was 12, and I was so scared. I wasn't supposed to watch that film. I went to the video store trying to find the scariest stuff they could give me. The guy didn't want to give it to me because I was 12, and I was really, really pushy. So the guy goes, okay, you deserve it. Take this movie. And I watched it, and I was so scared. Really, I had nightmares for days and days. It was a movie that stayed with me in a very particular way, in a very private way, too. I didn't want to talk too much about it. I didn't want to mention to my father that I watched that movie because I couldn't. They didn't know that I watched it. But all the tree rape and all that, when you're 12, that stayed with you for a long time. So I think the fandom comes later in life. Suddenly you're like 15, 16, you're talking with friends about horror movies, and everybody starts talking about that one, and they have the same experience, and you realize, oh, well, there's, that's how a cult classic is born. I don't think it's born the day the movie comes out. It's like something that comes later in life when you realize there are people like you that love the same stuff. So I did become, even more, I definitely a truly Sam Raimi fan. I follow every of his movies. My group of friends and me were always crazy Sam Raimi fans who will watch every movie he did and always spot the classic and always spot Ted Raimi. You know what I mean? When you're a Sam Raimi fan, you kind of enjoy his movies in a different way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan, and I totally agree. You mentioned how much this impacted you, and I have to say I have pretty much the same story. Do you think that really affected how you went about approaching the remake?
Yeah, I guess so. Look, I didn't know until I showed it to an audience the other day that at South by Southwest when we really revealed the film to a big audience, and there was a lot of lovers of the original Evil Dead. It wasn't until then that I felt like, oh, whoa, there's really an audience out there that like me that loves the same things, because and that really noticed all the knowledges to the original movie. I mean, this movie is like loaded with fan details. Just because, that's the way, because I'm a fan and I just enjoyed, I just enjoyed like being on set and seeing things from the original Evil Dead. Like, that's why I put the car outside the house. I wanted to walk into that set and feel like I'm in a real Evil Dead set and all those things. It was some kind of way of bless every set. So we put the car outside. Inside the living room, you will have infinite details from the original movie. And of course, a necklace and a lot of things that are from the original movie. Just because I love to see those things in the movie, and I love to see those things in set. And I never knew how much that would mean for a lot of people. And after we showed it the other day, a lot of people would come to me and be so happy that we did it that way, that it was loaded with original Evil Dead imagery and stuff that I was so happy. I was like, oh, so there's a lot of people that really like this movie because it's made that way. It's made with a fanboy heart in a way, and that's what I think was Sam Raimi master plan at the end of the day. And I realized the other day, like, his master plan was like, instead of trying to find some Hollywood director and trying to Hollywood director to realize what the fans want, he just went, find two guys, me and my buddy Rudder. We wrote the script together. We were friends since we were kids, was the original movie way back in the day. And so he said, like, he took us and made us make the movie. So that's why I think the movie ended up connecting so well with the fans.
Well, yeah, you saying that and how much you're a fan and Sam Raimi contacting you and all that, I have to ask, how intimidating was it to get that call and kind of take on remaking The Evil Dead?
It wasn't. Look, I did something crazy back then that, Panic Attack came out, my last short, and did quite a splash in Hollywood, and suddenly a lot of people wanted to meet me, and a lot of people from the studios, and everybody was... So the one that got to me first was one of Sam's partners in Good Universe, one of the companies that produced the film. And he told me, oh, look, Sam loves your short. He would love to do something with you. They offered me this blind deal, right? A blind deal is a deal that is whatever you want to do, right? It's just a deal to make a movie that whatever you want, right? It's like the dream deal. So they offered me that and said, like, Sam Raimi's going to be overseeing the project. He's going to be like the godfather of the project, but it's your movie and all that. And even that, and the deal was the best deal ever. Even that, I said, like, look, great. I think it's awesome. I love Sam Raimi's movies, but I have never talked with the guy. I don't know if the guy's an asshole or not. I don't know if the guy's going to protect me or is going to destroy me. So I need to meet him first. And if I like the guy, we'll make a movie. Everybody was freaking out. Everybody around the project, everybody want us to make a movie. They were like, well, what is this guy? He comes from Uruguay. He's nobody, and he's putting conditions that he has to meet Sam Raimi first if you like him. But the truth is, if you're a filmmaker, you don't want a guy overseeing your project. You don't want somebody that you don't like overseeing your project. So I love his movies, but I didn't know him. So we set up this call, and I'm in the car. I remember, like, somebody was driving in somewhere. So in the car, the phone rings. I pick up, and it's like, "Hey, buddy, this is Sam Raimi." And that was like, whoa! Like, oh my God, Sam Raimi. And I was like, so I want to make a movie with you. And I was like, yeah, cool. Well, let's talk. And we ended up talking like 2 hours on the phone, just like body talk, just talking about movies. And he will ask me, what kind of composers do you like? What kind of movies do you like? We talk about some of his movies, and it's just general talk. And that's when I realized this was the coolest guy ever, because he's just such a sweet man. Like, for starters, he's such a nice man, like a good guy. Like, you don't find those kind of guys in Hollywood every day, particularly a guy on his level of game, right? He's A-lister, top of the line, director, and he's such a sweet man. Like, a nice guy. We became really good friends, and it was after that 2 hours phone call when I said, okay, yeah, let's close the deal, let's do it. This guy is the man. So it was everything I could hope that he was. So that's how it started. So it wasn't the pressure. It was all about let's hope this guy is the real deal, so we can make a great movie. And he was definitely the real deal. Right?
Now, you said it was a blind deal. Was it your idea or Sam's to remake The Evil Dead then?
Yeah,
or at least for your film.
Yeah, the blind deal turned into what was announced back then 3 years ago. which was more an adaptation of the short, right? Like it was a big alien invasion movie that we hope we can make because Sam still loves the idea, I still do, and we didn't have time to do it. But while we were developing that story, while we were, an American writer was writing the story for us and all that, while we were doing that, we're having so much fun and really connecting with Sam on every meeting that Sam asked me, like, hey, would you like to, do Evil Dead for me? And that was, boom. I was like, well, yeah. And back then I was kind of frustrated with the process of developing movies in Hollywood where, you have to get an American writer to write for you. You have to kind of pitch your story to them. They write it to you. And I didn't like that. I was like, I prefer if I can write it. That would be awesome. But it's so hard to get those opportunities. But Sam, being like his, he said, like, look, if you want to make Evil Dead, you have to write it. For him, the whole idea of making an Evil Dead movie is that it has to be an author movie. It has to be a filmmaker's movie, not a studio-made movie. Studio-made movie is like 2-3 writers writing some draft and then trying to find the right director. That's the studio-made. That's all those remakes you've seen in the past. This is an author movie. This is a writer-director. I write it with my partner, which is my friend since we're kids, right? Which is kind of the same voice, and doing every little step of the process yourself in a way, like being super involved since day one until the last credit rolls. I even create the rolling credits of the movie on my computer. So that's the way you do it, a more independent and more author film, which every remake you've seen in the past. None of them are done that way. Usually it's a studio movie, like through the studio, system.
Yeah, exactly.
And completely different. This is like as independent as it can be, right?
No, that's awesome. You've mentioned this, and I have to ask. With all this being said, I know that you're writing a sequel, Evil Dead 2. But is there any chance that you'll be returning as the director if this gets made?
Yeah, we're talking about it. We're talking about it right now. I mean, it's something that I spent so much time in the Evil Dead universe recently that I felt like I wanted my next movie. I'm in love with that project that we started developing with Sam, the first one, and I kind of go and jump into that. So I don't want them to have to wait for me. That's basically it. I don't want them to be waiting for me to make the next one, because I know they're going to have to make it as soon as possible. The movie comes out and there's an audience out there that love it. They're going to want another one right away. So there's something that I don't want them keep them waiting. So it's just, right now I'm just in as a writer, and but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, well, I would love to have the opportunity to direct it, and they want me to direct it, but it's just a timing thing that we have to find the right time. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I completely understand that. And from everything I've seen, I actually really hope you come back because you have a very true vision of Evil Dead.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, so you guys, you've seen the film, right?
I've not actually got the chance to see it yet. I just
you got to see
trailers and yeah. Yeah, which is very unfortunate because I'm actually a huge fan.
So you have to. So that's even better. So yeah, maybe you have to wait to see it with a real audience, out there, and like an audience that pay for it and goes. That's the best experience you can have with this movie. Because if in a screening or sometimes a fan screening, the experience is different. But when it is a real one, that just people, a lot of new people, new kids, they're walking to this movie and they don't know what it is about. Because I've been to one of those where. Most of the people walking in, they didn't know. When you test the movie in the beginning, back in December, we tested the movie at Orange County, and we showed it to 800 people. They have no idea what they're going to witness, right? They just walk into the theater. They tell them they're going to show them a horror movie. These is people that probably was recruited outside horror movies, so they kind of like horror. But these are kids, right? They're like 18, 20, I don't know. Younger people, and they don't know. So suddenly they're exposed to an Evil Dead story. You have to see their faces. It's just like they loved it. They were crazy about it, and they didn't know what it was. New generation that they probably heard about the title, but they haven't seen the originals. So that's what I was so proud of the movie. In that moment, I was so proud to some some guy said, you talk with them after the movie, and some guy said, like, look, I've never, he was probably 18, he said, like, never seen the original Evil Dead, but after watching this, I know why they call them they're like called classics. And I was so proud. I was like, yeah. So that means that whatever they did, like, it really shocked these new kids. They're not used to this kind of movie. They're used to all the ghost, the ghost stories, the found footage ghost stories. That's kind of the thing for the last 10 years. So these guys, now they're exposed to this kind of thing. They said, kind of, for me, they're like, well, what a real horror movie should be. So they're super shocked and surprised in a good way.
Yeah, how does it feel to actually be attached to this franchise now and be the man bringing it to the newer generation? I mean, that's got to be amazing for you as a fan.
Oh, yeah, it feels awesome. It feels awesome because it's a playground that Evil Dead have. It's such a big playground. Like, there's so many places you can go. If you're thinking about a franchise that ended up with 5 guys driving in a car and ended up with one of the guys, like, in medieval times, being a superhero, like, it's just like, there's no limits in the Evil Dead universe. You can go everywhere. So, and I know that we can do the same thing right now. That's what's exciting for me about staying in this universe longer, is that we started kind of in the same way, in a very grounded story. Even this movie goes further than the original goes. It just goes to even crazier places than the original did. So it's already ending in a super high note. So we want to make sure that the next one really keeps doing that, and particularly in the third one. I don't know. We have to go to completely bananas. So that's why I think it's super exciting. It's a great film. It's a great responsibility too. Because the fans expect a lot from these movies. I'm so happy now that at least feel that we're delivering and fans are liking it. So it's a big responsibility, but it's a lot of fun too.
Well, as a fan, I want to thank you for actually viewing it as a responsibility towards the fans, because that's so refreshing instead of somebody just getting assigned the job and trying to make the movie, because we've seen that with remakes so many times, and I'm just so thrilled that you're actually a fan and view this as a responsibility towards the fans too, because that makes me that much more encouraged in this movie.
Thank you. Yeah, it's you have to find the right balance. The challenge here was how to make a movie for the fans and how to make it at the same time a movie for a new audience that doesn't know what they're going to see. Right? It's a fine line, and you have to make sure you're standing right in the middle, because if you make it too much for the fans, then the new audience doesn't connect with it. They feel they're losing out on a lot of things. They feel like they're missing in something that they should have seen the original or something. And it's not like that. It has to be the movie works even if you haven't seen anything. So it's a fine line to be standing on. But we really managed. I mean, I was, like I said, the times we showed it to an audience, I was so happy that we managed to stand right on that line. The fans love it. But the new audience, sometimes they're even happier because they've never been exposed to this story. They've never been exposed to this kind of craziness. So for the original fans, they kind of, this is Evil Dead. It's the way it should be. They're so happy. And for the new audience, it's like, what the fuck was that? And they're like so shocked, right? In a good way. They're so happy. So that's why it works with both audiences, 100%.
Yeah, so they actually get to embrace this as a new thing, whereas, fans have already got that chance. So that's exactly. Awesome that you've created that experience for them.
It's great, yeah.
You've mentioned this earlier about how much from the original film, and you just having mentioned that brought this up in my head. I have to ask, in your opinion, does your film exist in the same world as the original? Because you do have the car, and it has matching damage from Evil Dead 2 and just all these different things. I'm curious.
Well, it definitely, it is built in a way that it could definitely live in the same universe. If you think about the original film, everybody died. Take Evil Dead 1 just as a standalone movie, because that's the way I take it, because Evil Dead 2 is kind of a reboot, right? Evil Dead 2 and 3 are kind of a single movie, right? Split in two. But Evil Dead 2 kind of starts from zero, because if I tell you the story, those are two different stories. The first story is like 5 friends go together to a cabin. Ash, his girlfriend, and 3 friends. But now, when you think about Evil Dead 2, you have it's just Ash with his girlfriend. It's a different story. It's not a recap of the first one, like a lot of people say. It's not a remake of the first one at all, like a lot of people say. It's a different Evil Dead, right? It's just about Ash going with his girlfriend by himself, open the champagne, and then suddenly they find the tape, and she turns, and he's by himself, and then this all new group of people comes in, right? The hillbilly and the daughter of Kenobi. It's a different movie, right? So let's take Evil Dead 1 just as a standalone movie. If you think about that movie, when it ends, everybody died. Bruce is trying to get out, and the camera runs after him. He turns around, screams. He turns around and screams, and the movie's over. So on my book, that movie ends with all the corpses, everybody dying. The car is still in the house because the car was never moved from there. The car is kind of parked next to the house. And the book is still there. You can say, oh, look, but the book burned. That's wrong. If you go and watch that movie again, you're going to see the book is never consumed. The book is thrown into the fire. You will see the fire around the book. The book will put his tongue out. There's a crazy tongue of the book and eyes popping and stuff like that, but the book is never disappear or completely consumed. It's still there. It kind of suffer, and of course you kind of destroy the Deadites because it stayed in the fire so long. So, but the book was never completely destroyed. So that's what at the end of the first Evil Dead you have. So you have a cabin with all corpses, you have a car, and you have a book. So we take it from there in a way. We jump 30 years later, and these kids were getting to the cabin. So you can definitely believe and feel that isn't the same. That is a kind of a sequel happening ages later, 30 years later. But at the same time, there's so many similarities in the plot in a way, in a completely different way. But there's some beats that happen in this one too. So that makes you feel, oh well, but kind of a retelling of a similar story. But at the end of the day, the book, I think, is just throwing the same thing at this kid. And the book is evil, and the book has to understand that. So I think he's doing the same thing to the that he did originally.
Honestly, that makes me that much more excited just to hear you say that, to see this. Honestly, Mike knows how big of a fan I am of the Evil Dead, how excited I've been for probably about 2 months now to get to see this, and the fact that your explanation right there of it fit almost perfectly in line with what me and Mike have been talking about, and that makes me that much more excited with just that possibility. I love that so much.
That's great.
Now, there's a lot of rumors that Sam's actually talking about continuing the original series. Do you think there's any truth to that?
Well, there is. I mean, there's definitely is, because every time we're discussing what we're going to do with Evil Dead 2 and where the story has to go now, because Evil Dead 2 is going to be the first completely new Evil Dead in a long time, right? This one at least has a lot of things in common with the first Evil Dead, but this new Evil Dead is not going to be a remake of the classic Evil Dead 2. It's just going to be a completely new Evil Dead. And so every time we talk about this, we have to kind of discuss at the same time what Sam is going to do with his movie, and make sure we don't step on each other's toes, and we tell a story that can live together with the original. So he's definitely interested in making it, and he's definitely going to do it. I mean, it's Sam Raimi, so he has so many projects and things, and he's a man that makes a lot of money for the studio. So the studios are always trying to get him to make his their $150 million tentpoles. But Sam is in love with this franchise, and he loves it more than nobody, even more than you, man. So he's really he's a crazy, he's that fan number one, and so he really wants to do it. And actually, I was on the phone yesterday with them, with Bruce and Sam, and we were discussing things about his sequel and my sequel. So that's definitely something that's going to happen. In the dream world, in Hollywood, you never know what can happen because things, money, and things, you never know. But what we want to do is definitely that. I want to make the next one, being able to create that next film, and Sam is going to keep doing it with Bruce Campbell, because I think everybody, if something showed us with this one, we put in this one, and having people talking about Evil Dead so much online, it definitely shows you that there's a big audience out there that wants to see Ash back in action, and so Sam wants to give that to them. So it's definitely a reality. It's like it's not like fake internet stuff. It's really when he's going to do it. That's the question, and I don't know when, but he definitely wants to do it.
Well, it's awesome that you can confirm that for us. And just as a fan, hopefully of both, I have to ask, is there any chance then that we could possibly see the two universes kind of mixed, where we may actually get, your modern hero alongside Ash at any point?
That would be awesome. That would definitely be awesome. and we'll see. Who knows? Like, it's one movie at a time, so not in the next one, but who knows? Maybe on the following one, we can unite them together.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be so cool.
Right. Now, you said you guys were constantly talking, trying to figure out, your film and then his. Is this possibly why we don't have like a cameo from Bruce Campbell or anyone else in this one?
Yeah, I mean, Sam wanted me to have, he was very insistent in the fact that this had to be my movie. He didn't want, his movies or the Sam Raimi universe to be too much of a part of this one in some levels. And it kind of makes sense. He was very respectful and he was very pushy of, you have to make your film, So that's part of the reason why, he thought that we didn't, even in the moment I was considering, well, maybe we have to talk with Ted Raimi and see what we do with him. And he was like, no, like, this is your film, use your friends, do it with your friends, put your stuff in it, which I'm so happy that he did that, right? Like, he really wanted me to embrace it as my film. And for a filmmaker, nothing gets you more excited than that. Nothing gets you more excited than feeling that the movie you're making is yours and your own, and it's not somebody else's movie that you're making as a hired director. So he was really pushy with those things. So that's why he wanted to keep me away from doing anything that it was too much related to the original ones. And also, I think particularly because he wants to make his follow-up to his last Evil Dead movie. So he want to make sure that he has also the freedom to tell whatever story he wants. And if I'm playing too much with the character from his movies, that could lock him up to some certain stories. So that's why we figured that this one had to be, clean and free from the originals in some level, character-wise. Right?
Awesome. I don't have a whole lot more, so really what I want to say is everyone out there that's listening that has possibly doubted this, please understand Sam Raimi has trusted this man to take on the Evil Dead, and he has trusted him enough to hand it completely over and hand him an Evil Dead experience that Sam Raimi had. If that's not, endorsement enough for anyone that isn't a fan of the original out there to watch this, I don't know what the hell is. I'm 100% sold on this film. And I have one last question for you, Fede, and then I'm going to let you go.
Sure.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to the fans out there?
Yeah, they have to believe, and they have to go with an open mind. The fans, they love the original so much that a lot of the hardcore fans were saying, we don't need a remake. But hey, this is a new Evil Dead movie, right? This is a fourth one in a way. This is a new Evil Dead movie that's going to be out there, and you have to take it as it is. You don't have to think like we're rewriting or overriding the original at all. This is completely new Evil Dead. You have to embrace it with that, because if you go with that mentality of open-minded, of go, okay, let's go. There's a new Evil Dead out there that is in a way made and produced by the original guys that made the original one. I mean, you're going to have a blast, man. You're going to have a blast.
Fede, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us and all the great information that you gave us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been a blast.
Coming up next at the movies, a thriller about hideous monsters in the basement of a vacation cottage. Our next film, The Evil Dead, is what is known in the trade as a ghoulie or a splatter film, meaning it's full of blood and guts. the guts of people and the guts of animals. There is much slicing and dicing of human body parts in this story of the awakening of dead spirits at a vacation cottage in the mountains, where 5 young people are spending what turns out to be one horrible night. Sorry about all the blood. There is probably 60 minutes in this little 85-minute movie, 60 minutes that we couldn't show on TV. It's just too gross. The Evil Dead has some eye-popping special effects, but it has many more nauseating special effects. And you know, I sort of don't like a movie that makes me wonder whether or not I'm going to barf at it. The story becomes repetitive after a while. The kids turn into monsters and are hacked apart into submission one after another, and that's about it. So it may be campy to say you like this kind of picture, but I certainly did not.
I didn't enjoy it either, but I think I would have to give credit to the craftsmanship of the film. It was obviously inspired by Night of the Living Dead, and it's a very pure film, and that apart from all these other dead teenager and knifing, slashing movies that we've had over the past several years, this one distills everything right down to the very basic thing. Put the kids in the cabin, throw things at them for an hour and a half, and that's the movie.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't waste any time on characterization, needless dialogue, or any meaning whatsoever.
Yeah, I just wish that they didn't have as much guts in it. I mean, I think that maybe some of those other things that you throw away and then maybe, you know, someone's rebelling against, I think might help a picture like this, rather than just, you know, if you want to see twice ground beef, go to a butcher shop. I don't know if I want to see that in a movie theater.
I got you.
Let's roll this bitch.
Honestly, best introduction in the business. You gotta love it.
I can't think of anything else to say at this point. That's why I did it.
It's perfect, Mike. It really is, honestly.
Do you think I should say it faster or slower? What do you think sounds best?
No, honestly, you deliver it just fine right there. It's natural. It's not forced like you're trying to act. Like you're just like, let's roll this bitch or anything like that. It works, man. It works.
Oh, awesome. Well, then let's roll it then.
All right. Okay, so let's dive into this. This is our retrospective on Within the Woods and The Evil Dead. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Been waiting for this.
You should be more excited than that. That fuck yeah was kind of dull, and you want to talk about being forced. That was dull and very forced.
That was not forced.
Yes, it was.
That was controlled.
Dude, all it is fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Okay. Rewind. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is our fucking Within the Woods retrospective along with the motherfucking Evil Dead. Hell to the hell motherfucking yeah, bitches!
Coming in yeah.
How's that one?
That was better.
Yeah, that's the real me. That is me right fucking there. This is how fucking pumped I am. I feel like the fucking Macho Man Randy Savage. I don't know why, but damn.
This is how pumped I am.
I know, I just said that and it just popped into my head. It's like, fuck, I must have done like 6 lines of coke and put on my bright yellow spandex and it's like, oh yeah. Snap into a fucking Slim Jim.
Yeah, that's good shit.
But past that shit, alright, let's go. Within the Woods, alright, anybody who doesn't know, Within the Woods is the fucking prototype for the Evil Dead. Now, Sam Raimi, Rob Tapert, and Bruce Campbell were friends for a long time. They sat around. They were making, 16mm films. They started to actually put these out. They made a little bit of money off them. And then, they're just like, fuck, can we actually make a movie? So this was them seeing if they could, and then using this to make some fucking cash to make the money. Smart.
So this is what I'm wondering. How did they make cash to... with this movie to do other movies? How did they make cash?
How did they raise money with this one?
Well, yeah, how did they make cash?
What they did was they actually took this around and they took it to investors and anybody that they could to try and get money out of, and they just kind of pretty much played this, and they were pretty much like, this is our pilot. This is something like what we can deliver, but feature length.
So here's my other question. So then basically, this was shot on 16 millimeter, correct, or 8 millimeter, whichever. Was it 16 millimeter?
It was 16.
Okay. So did they take like a 16 millimeter player with them to these investors' places so the investors could watch them?
Absolutely. Now I
wait. They actually have 16 millimeter players. That's awesome.
Yeah, back in like the fucking 70s. Yeah. Oh. So what they would do is I believe they actually had like meetings with them first to see if they were interested, and those that were, they would set up like kind of like group screenings. And I know like their biggest investors were a bunch of dentists out of Detroit, and they actually screened it at a restaurant while they were eating.
Was it a sandwich shop?
It was not a sandwich shop, but nice reference. All right, now Within the Woods was actually just thrown together real quick. It was actually shot on Rob Tappert's family farm, and the whole thing together cost $1,600, which probably in 1978 when this was made was quite a bit.
78.
Yeah, I don't know conversion. Like, I'm dyslexic and bad at math, so numbers are hard. Moving on. All right, this one is just kind of like the Evil Dead, except, you know, instead of the really cool supernatural shit, we have Indians. Like, I don't think they tried a whole lot while writing this.
Were they Indians? Because my copy is pretty shitty, so I can't see a lot of stuff with it because, you know, it flips a lot.
No, like, I'm pretty sure the only copy out there is the only remaining copy, because I found a couple copies on YouTube. I watched them, or I at least, you know, started to watch them. They're the same as my copy. I'm pretty sure they're all the same remaining copy. And
so they all look like shit, is what you're saying.
Well, you got to realize, man, it was made in 1978 on 16 millimeter film. You're fucking lucky to be able to see this damn thing.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was tough for me to realize that they were Indians. I thought that they were just fucked up people.
No, they are, but what they say is it's like, here's the deal. Either Bruce, who actually plays a character named Bruce, fucking original, is possessed by an Indian or an Indian god deity thing named Tiga. Okay?
Tiga.
Yeah, Tiga.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Whatever. And, like, the whole thing is that, you know, him and his girlfriend, well, two couples go out, blah, 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 who cares? They go for a nice picnic. Bruce is setting up to make a fire. Somehow, randomly, while he's digging to make the fire pit, finds an Indian grave. Ooh, that's not... Yeah, that happens every fucking time I do it, but... He finds, like, this fucking knife in it, and he's all like, oh, this is badass. Mike, if you're fucking digging in a place that you know where there's a lot of Indian lore, myth, and, like, possible an Indian burial ground, and you find a fucking knife in the ground and something that looks like it might be a grave, are you gonna fucking keep it?
Well, first of all, with me being gimpy, I really can't dig for shit.
Well, you could, like, pot the ground with your crutches.
Okay. All right, let's pretend. Yeah, okay, I did do that. Anything I find there, I'm going the fuck away. I'm not staying there. I'm not doing anything
You're not going to find, like, a grave and be like, oh, look at that. That's a fucking knife. I might keep it.
Of course not. I'm not an idiot.
There's probably 50-50. I'm not going to lie. I'd just be like...
But again, it's Bruce Campbell, so he is, you know, an idiot. So that's why.
Well, fuck you. Fuck you. But I'm not going to lie. Like, as a normal guy, there's like a 50-50 chance that I might be like, oh, this is fucking badass. But regardless, you know, one thing leads to another. He gets possessed. And pretty much what this is we get a lot of setups for the gags that we get in 1 and 2. We get to see them used, or we get to see them kind of like figured out. Like the whole hand biting thing that we get in part 1. What it happened was Bruce's hand was actually supposed to get cut off in this one. It didn't quite work, and he had to like chew it off. They realized, hey, this is a lot more intense, and they went with it. So we get a lot of stuff like that. But one thing I really got to give this one is I liked the ending, and I got to say the part where Scotty sets up suddenly at the end, like that compared to the gag that they use with Scotty suddenly setting up towards the end of part 1. Right. I actually think the one within the woods works better. I think that one's a little bit more scary, honestly.
Well, because see, when Within the Woods, when Within the Woods was around, you know, nobody had ever done that before. They were trying to copy off of Halloween, whichever you want to say. So,
trying to copy off from Halloween.
Exactly. So then, what it is by the time Evil Dead 1 rolled around, they already did it in Within the Woods. So that means that it wasn't really original anymore because they were just copying them themselves. Much like Evil Dead 2 did to Evil Dead 1. But still, I digress.
Fuck you.
I had to throw it out.
I'm fucking saving that because I'm going to destroy you on that. But
no, you're not. But, so the fact is that Sam Raimi, when you do it once, he can't duplicate it to the same success of the original idea. Because once he does it once, it's already like he blew his load. So he can't go back and do it again.
Well, I think a lot of what the problem is like Within the Woods, it's set up like it's over, we get the female crying, and we get the distant shot that we kind of get with a lot of films, and we're just like, okay, it's over. And it's very dark and whatnot. And then all of a sudden we have this terribly fucked up character drooling blood and bile and what up just spring up right in front of the camera with a good sound effect, and that works really good. And that's just like, you get that, you get the realization, you get to fully fucking recognize the character, and then it's black out. Right. And I think that works really nice. That works really good. But with, you know, part 1, it's not quite lined up the same. It's not as darkly lit. It's not as startling when it happens, honestly.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I was an investor and I saw Within the Woods, I would probably have to be like, okay, now, what are these people? Like, this is the most vile and disturbing thing I have ever seen in my life.
Dude, if I was a fucking dentist, yeah. I would be like, what the fuck is this? But me as myself, having seen that, I would have been like, these motherfucking kids are legit. I mean, look at this shit that they're making. It's like, yeah, I'm going to put some money into you, knowing that I'm going to get a lot back.
Well, did they get a lot back, though? That's the question.
To be honest, I really don't know. Because Bruce, Sam, everyone's really close-lipped around that. Like, they'll talk about their investors and, like, briefly around the deal that they had, but there's not a lot of information out there about it. They're pretty closed off about it, which is kind of understandable because they're dealing with average people and they're not studio people, so I get it.
Of course. Wow.
So, thoughts on Within the Woods, Mike? What would you rate this?
Well, given the fact that I've made some very low-budget films in my time, probably a lot worse than Within the Woods. I will forgive. I will forgive the fact that the quality of the transfer that I have, or the copy that I have, is shitty, and just take that with the age of the source material.
Yeah.
Because it says, it's probably close to my age.
Which, dude, is honestly really sad because we miss out on the reveal of dead Bruce, you know, all fucked up.
Yeah, they couldn't really see it. But see, and if Bruce Campbell was, you know, for the fans, he might be able to release a picture of himself from that film so we could actually see what it looks like, maybe a little clearer. And I get no response because you agree that is pretty douchebaggy.
No, because I actually bashed my fucking elbow off the table. Like, anyone listening that hears kind of a fuddled boom in the background.
Why did you do it?
Like, you said that, and I moved, just fucking drilled my elbow, and I was just like, don't be like, oh, motherfucker on air. Just hold it back, hold it back.
Well, you just said it, so there you go. You blew the illusion. But, all right. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a solid 8.
8? That's okay. Within the Woods, I have to give it... I'm going to give it a 7.
You Evil Dead hater.
What the fuck? And the reason I'm giving it a 7 is I'm judging it as a film. Now, it's hard to judge it.
Dude, it's a fucking half-hour fucking promotional piece.
I know,
you
and I
judge it as a film.
It's hard because
you're an Evil Dead hater.
Fuck
you're
you! I'm an Evil Dead hater.
No, you know what you are? You are an anti-Deadite.
Oh, and you can suck my dick because this entire thing was my idea.
Of course, but you're an anti-Deadite.
No, here, I love it, and I really like this one because we get so much information, but here's the thing, it's not as well directed. The acting is obviously not as good.
Well, what do you
expect?
expect?
Except for Bruce and Ellen. Ellen's actually not bad in this either.
Bruce could have taken a page from Scott Spiegel's book, I'm just saying.
Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, I'm not going farther into that just because of because of Scott and I but but
you all right there?
But it's hard to judge it. You can't see the whole thing. And I know that's not the film's fault, but it's not as well directed, and I don't know. I think a 7's very respectable for what it is. All right, we don't really get involved with the characters. The story's not very well thought out, anything like that. I mean, those are the simple little things.
The story's not well thought out. Dude, you really are, merciless on this film.
If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of merciless on almost everything.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame. Anti-Deadite. Continue.
Oh. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to the motherfucking Evil Dead.
And if you give this one a 7, I'm going to shoot you.
All right, well, we're going to save that. Okay? This one was made in fucking 1979. Here's some crazy facts real quick. This one was actually estimated to cost $150,000.
Holy shit, that's half of the budget of the original Halloween.
Here's the thing. It actually ended up costing $350,000. It budgeted that much due to all the unforeseen costs, and it ended up making Bruce and Sam and a lot of the people involved pull in more investors. I know Bruce and I'm pretty sure Sam's parents ended up mortgaging their houses and whatnot to help finance it. So yeah, that's some cool information right there.
See, they should have brought me on because I guarantee you I could have made that movie for $20.
And it would have looked like shit and nobody would talk about it today.
Obviously, but still, it would have been made for $20.
All right, so like I said, it was made in actually 1979, but due to pickups and editing, it actually wasn't released until 1981. Kind of crazy.
Very crazy.
Here's the deal. This one was never actually meant to survive. Bruce, Sam, nobody actually thought people would be talking about this. They thought it would hit the theaters, it'd have its run, and then it'd fucking die out. But, home video, VHS, DVD hit, and this thing fucking took off. It was a classic. This was made for fucking drive-ins, and it was made when drive-ins were responsible for fucking 25% of the box office. So, thank God for us, home video took off because this motherfucker exists today, and I would have never fucking seen it if not for that.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think I might have told you this off air before, John, but I'll just reiterate it because I think it's a great story. But I bought the VHS from a store back when I was maybe 7 or 8. I think it was $20 at a James Way. I don't think there's any James Ways around anymore.
I have no idea.
It was the original VHS release in
nice.
the hard shell case and all. I wish I still had it, but I had to get rid of a lot of my VHSs to make room for the DVDs and such, and the Blu-rays. So.
Well, see, here's the thing with me. Like, I'm pretty sure I've said this on other shows. Like, when I was early teens, I was really searching out other horror, trying to get involved with the genre, trying to expand my knowledge and whatnot. And one that kept popping up on all the sites that I was finding was Evil Dead, and everyone was talking about how intense it was, how gory, how graphic, how over the top it was. And I just remember needing to see this, and I ended up finding it around the holidays. I want to say, I think it was at Walmart. It might have been another store. I don't know.
What year was this, John?
Fuck, dude, I don't remember.
Because obviously you said Walmart, so obviously I was introduced to it way before you were.
Yeah, well, let's subtract 13 from 29 and that year, whatever it would be.
13 from 29, so let's see, 13 from 29.
Yeah, well, Mike's doing that.
Yeah.
I ended up finding this.
16! Holy shit. You're fucking 9 years behind me. Okay,
yeah.
Continue.
So I ended up finding this, made my parents buy it, and I ended up with the copy where it's Bruce standing with the axe and the shotgun over his shoulder by the grave. And...
Anchor Bay release, right?
Huh?
It was an Anchor Bay VHS, right?
I'm pretty sure it was the first Anchor Bay VHS of it. I'm not sure, but it was an Anchor Bay. And I still own my 3 Anchor Bay VHSs. I'm not going to lie, I almost have to say I prefer watching it on VHS. I don't know why. I think it's part of the nostalgia.
Well, because the widescreen version was manufactured and only the full screen one is... The full screen is the real version. If you watch the widescreen version, the image is stretched and skewed, so it's not the real version.
Exactly, and like I showed you today, if you watch the Blu-ray copy, you're getting a altered version. Look it out there, people. There, with your Blu-ray copy, are quite a few alters to it that were made. I have no idea why they were made, but they're made. So check it out.
It's to spiff it up a little bit, you know what I mean? You gotta bring out the good stuff.
Bring out the good stuff, hide some of the bad effects and some of the cast. Honestly, no, fuck you. I don't want that. You know.
Well, no, I don't either. That's
what's
that's
the next step?
disturbing.
Cheryl rapes the trees first? No. No, we're not going into George Lucas territory here. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, don't even go down that road because that motherfucker's a bastard. But I still remember that, and I cherished it. I remember going home, ripping it open, and watching it.
Yeah.
Fucking cherish that memory.
Cherish it.
I really do. I really do. And it is one of the only memories I have of buying a new movie, going home and watching it. It is one of the only that I still have in my mind fresh, which is crazy to me. Out of all the fucking movies I've bought, this is one of the ones that always pops in my head. And that's how much this movie has impacted me. That's how much this movie has stuck with me. Is it even fucking buying it, going home and watching it has fucking stuck with me.
Wow.
All right, but let's get into this. All right, so we're first introduced to all the characters. You know, they're driving down the road, and they're actually driving down the road in Sam Raimi's own car that shows up in almost all his fucking films. Mm-hmm. It's 1973 Olds Delta 88. For all those out there that don't know or gets that trivia question thrown at them at horror festivals, that's what it is.
Horror festivals, okay.
If you pay attention during it, they're also drinking moonshine while driving. Not very safe.
Well, we'll get into it later in the movie, but there is something that I think... there's a scene where I believe, what was it? Bruce Campbell is driving Cheryl back, or is it Cheryl back to town, or he was going to drive Cheryl back to town?
Yeah.
And he's driving the car. How much do you want to bet that Sam Raimi was like, Bruce, if you fuck up my car, I will kill you?
I would almost guarantee that he wasn't, because I know a lot of the story. They've used that car a lot, and they've all fucked it up. So, nope, sorry, Mike. Good try, though.
Oh. Damn it, I wanted some dirt on Bruce.
But, here's something crazy. Right off we open up with the swamp or pond or whatever, just like we did in Within the Woods. And we get some weird car trouble that Bruce says shouldn't happen because he just had his car checked out. And here's my question, Mike, do you actually think this sudden car trouble is actually caused by something bigger? Is it part of the force, the unforeseen force or whatever? Or is it just, the Delta 88's a piece of shit?
It's the Delta 88's a piece of shit.
See, I can kind of see that argument, but, once we open with the force and we're jumping between the people in the car and the force, I almost want to say that there's some play on its part of the people.
But here's the thing. The force wasn't really resurrected yet, and anybody that thinks the force was resurrected at that point in the opening, it wasn't. It was just like a demonstration of a camera angle with noise behind it. That wasn't the force.
No, here's the thing is I think it was the force, but I don't think it was, and I'll agree with you, fully resurrected. I don't think it was fully as strong as it can be. I think it's just kind of like a presence that's not, fully empowered. And I think that was like its full force. And I think, a lot of people in the area have probably experienced random little things like that throughout their life. And, even us today, that crazy random shit happens to us, we can contribute that to that force. So
right.
There's my opinion on it. I actually think it was a little bit of that, but Mike says it's just the car's a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And we all know Mike's wrong.
I wouldn't say so. Because the car isn't a deadite.
Of course the car isn't a deadite. But, I think the force is different, and it's more powerful than a lot of people want to give it, want to give it credit for. So, we'll see. From there, we kind of go to the cabin, and, almost automatically, the force is singling out Cheryl for whatever goddamn reason. It's calling out to her, and it fucking possesses her hand within, the first 10, 15 minutes and forces her to draw the book, So, why do you think Cheryl's the first one singled out? Is she sensitive, or what the fuck's going on with that?
She seems to be the most bitchy of the group, to be honest with you. So I think that's probably the reason, because I don't think she really wanted to be there. I think being the fact that she's Ash's sister, I think that she's got a problem with Ash, and I think that's why. I think because the Force probably figures that she would make an awesome deadite because of her bitch factor.
Because of how much, malice she has going on, because of the fifth wheel factor. These two couples kind of drag her along on this winter vacation. And it's,
right, she shouldn't be there.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of see that. I don't know if it's something else. I mean, she's obviously kind of supposed to be the hippie of the group, too.
She's a bitch, admit it.
Huh?
She's a bitch, admit it.
Oh, no, she's definitely the bitch of the group, but she's also kind of I believe she's supposed to be kind of like the hippie of the group, the way she dresses, and she's sitting there all artsy kind of drawing. And I just kind of view her as the hippie, so I don't know if she was supposed to be sensitive to or something. I don't know. I don't care. I kind of agree with you that she's just singled out maybe because she's the bitch. Maybe just because she's alone and a little more vulnerable too. Who knows? So the Force might be just like a drunk guy in a bar, that one's alone. Join us.
Join us.
So, who knows?
Yeah, that's what I said.
And from there, we got the dinner scene, and for whatever goddamn reason, the Force is leading them into the basement. It flips open the fucking door.
That was not the Force.
Dude, what the fuck was that?
That was the wind.
How much wind do you get in your fucking basement of your house?
It's an old cabin. It's drafty.
It's an old fucking cabin where the basement has no windows or anything. If you see the fucking house, it's sitting level on the ground.
There's cracks in the foundation, I'm sure.
cracks in the foundation strong enough to force a fucking trapdoor open.
Exactly.
Bullshit. It's.
I call bullshit on your theory, honestly.
I don't know if it's the Force necessarily, because it doesn't make sense. All right, but there's something.
Well, of course it doesn't make sense. Then it's not the Force, because the Force makes sense. The Force turns people into living dead killing machines.
Well, here's the deal. It could have been something else, but I'm willing to go with the Force for the simple reason that it's trying to lead them down there on the off chance that one of these stupid fucking kids might play the tape, might read the book, might fully unleash it. So, in that essence, the Force makes sense, but on a whole, I don't know if it is the Force, but something threw that fucking door open that wasn't the wind. I don't know why they're led down there, but they are, besides the fact that they need to find the book. All right? In retrospect, I do say it's the Force, honestly. It's got to be the Force. They go down there, they find the book, which in this one is actually not the Necronomicon. I don't know if you caught that or not, Mike. But
I just saw that it was a book. I didn't notice, whether it was the Necronomicon or not.
No, actually in this one they never call it the Necronomicon. It's actually Naturom de Monto. That's what it's actually called in this movie, and they never actually call it the Necronomicon. Don't know why.
What's the translation of that? Do you know?
Well, they call it in the movie. The translation is Book of the Dead.
Well, then, okay. Yeah.
So, who knows? Well, either way, the translation is supposed to mean the same, I believe. But they also find, the Kandarian dagger, which we'll discuss the importance of that, and a shotgun. But randomly also in the basement, we got the Hills Have Eyes poster torn up, which, for those of you out there that know what that signifies, good for you. Mike, do you have any idea what that means?
What? It's the movie, The Hills Have Eyes, from 1977.
Yeah. You know why the poster's down there torn up? Nope.
Because whoever lived there, or whoever was there before, hated the movie?
No, actually, what it was is when they were doing research for it, they remember that they watched The Hills Have Eyes, and in The Hills Have Eyes, when the mutants attack, they end up tearing a Jaws poster. And Sam and everyone took that as kind of Wes Craven saying that, Jaws was kind of the reigning king, but that's not true horror. This is true horror. So this was kind of like Sam's attempt at saying, well, you guys did a good attempt, but that's actually not true horror. We're true horror. And that's why you actually had their poster in the basement all ripped up. So...
Well, I will agree that The Evil Dead did scare me much more than The Hills Have Eyes did, so...
Oh, fuck yeah. Much, much scarier. Okay, from here, we found all this stuff. If you're there, you find all this shit, Mike, in the basement of a cabin that you're renting in the middle of nowhere, are you going to listen to this tape recorder?
No, I'm going to get the fuck out of the cabin.
You're going to get the fuck out of the cabin. Mm-hmm. Well, you know why, Mike? Because you're a pussy.
No, I don't think so.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be interested. I'm going to look at this book. I'm going to check out this fucking dagger. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to listen to this fucking 1960s, 50s old-ass recorder. I don't know when it's from.
Yeah,
I'm going to listen to this old-ass recorder.
Yeah, well, then here's the thing. You play the old-ass recorder. Let's say the tape is so fucked up that when you play it, the tape being old causes the player to catch on fire. Then you're in trouble.
Not really. You fucking throw it outside, whatever.
Yeah, but it moves quick because it's old equipment. It burns fast.
Well, then the fucking cabin I'm renting burns to the ground. Who gives a shit? Renters
if it burns,
bitch.
But if it burns to the ground, you don't have Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness.
Well, then I guess I'm not the fucking chosen one.
Obviously not.
Oh. And fuck you. Because if there's one of us in the podcasting world that is the motherfucking chosen one, yeah. I'm sorry, bitches, but it is me.
Right. Well, you know what? WWBCD. And you know what he would do?
Run away?
Run the fuck away.
Exactly.
Oh, because he's a pussy.
No, he'd run away because it's funny, but in the end, he's going to come back, he's going to save the day, and he's going to prove himself as the absolute true hero.
Not by the end of that movie, he didn't.
Are you fucking kidding me? God.
I'm serious. Not by the end of that movie, he did not prove he was a hero. By
Moving
the end of that
on.
movie, by the end of the movie,
Nope,
he proved
nope,
he was
moving
a
on.
pussy. Okay.
I said moving on, sir.
All right.
Moving on.
Go ahead.
All right.
You just don't want to face it, but that's
No,
okay.
no, you were wrong, and we will prove that later, and that's
Right.
why we are moving on.
Okay.
Moving on, sir.
Yep.
Okay. From there, we go to the force, once again going after Cheryl. You know, it's fucking calling her out to the woods. I don't know why. Obviously, you know, she's investigating it. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Obviously, the force is on it, just really looking for a good time. It calls her out there. It puts on its best moves. It gets a little bit of action. Apparently, Cheryl's not really down with that. I don't really know why. It looked pretty hot to me. I was into it. Apparently, she wasn't. But
yeah. Tree branches up the vagina do not seem friendly.
I don't get it, honestly. I mean, she was asking for it, if you ask
Dude,
me.
she's probably got really bad vagina burn, and it probably gave her a yeast infection.
No. If anything, Dutch elm disease, Mike.
Oh, or poison oak.
Yeah, poison oak's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, bitch shouldn't have went
That's
out
what she
into the
gets for
woods.
being a bitch, exactly.
But, you know, here's the deal. We know that she goes out there, she gets attacked by the trees, raped, and then in a little bit she turns into a fucking deadite.
Right.
What the hell causes her or anyone else to turn into a deadite?
I'll tell you exactly what it was. When the tree raped her, the branches released the tree semen inside her body.
I'm not gonna lie, I almost spit all over my fucking computer. The tree semen. That is really the best you have, Mike.
The tree semen, that's exactly what happened.
So you become a deadite through tree semen.
Exactly. Tree semen, that does it. And the whole thing, the rest of them get infected through the tree semen, because here's how it works.
Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is breaking news. Fucking everyone needs to hear this. The problem is solved. Everyone knows from here on, once Mike speaks,
right,
on how you become a deadite.
The tree semen. So, the way that it works is, I believe the next one to get infected was, I don't remember. I think it was it Linda next? Or
No, it was Shelley.
Shelley. Okay, yeah, that's right. Because, see, Shelley touched Linda's fingers, like the hands, right? And the tree semen, when it goes into through the vaginal cavity, it spreads through the body, and it shoots out of
the pores.
Yes, and the fingers are like penises. So
what the fuck?
So it shoots out of the finger. It like secretes out of the fingertips, covering the fingers.
Wait, Mike, I have to ask.
Yes.
Wait, you just blew my mind. Is that the white stuff that the deadites are spewing everywhere? Is that actually tree semen?
That is tree semen. That's tree semen. So
man, we got to get Sam on and see if we can finally verify this. Tree semen, fucking everybody.
Semen. Tree semen. Thick white tree semen.
All right, moving past the bullshit that Mike had to spew for fucking 10 minutes there about...
It's not bullshit.
No, you are full of bullshit, man. Fucking tree rape, finger penises, and... tree semen.
Well, that's why it secretes out of the fingertips, because the fingers are like penises, and that's what it is.
No, you were wrong.
I'm correct.
You were
Continue.
wrong. Okay, here's the thing. For years, upon years, I actually thought deadites were infected because of, injuries. That the Kandarian demons got in through injuries,
What
cuts.
the fuck is a Kandarian demon?
That's what the whole thing is, Mike.
Oh. They should just call it tree semen demons.
No, it is a Kandarian demon.
Oh.
Okay, pay attention here, buddy.
I'm paying attention.
And I always thought it was in through injuries, whether it's the fucking pencil through the ankle, which, awesome. Love
that. Was disturbing, because that fucking Linda's tendon got fucked.
Right?
Ugh.
But I always thought that was how they got in. And that's still a very good possibility on the table. But having watched the film, I'm not quite sure that if it's that and the severity of the injuries that the person's, sustained, or if it's the person actually ends up dying or coming close to death. And that is how the demon gets in. Either way, my opinion that it is a straight-up possession by this Kandarian demon, whatever the fuck that is. It is a straight-up possession, and I think the person has to be weak enough. And I don't know if that's just a simple injury or a very severe injury that's killing you, almost killed you, something along those lines.
No, you know what? No. How about it doesn't mean that they're necessarily physically weak enough. How about, mentally and emotionally weak as well?
Yeah, it could be something as simple as the fact that, you're spiritually drained. You're fucking stressed the hell out.
Right.
And
as
just not up to the fight.
Shelley and Shelley after the tree rape, she was
Cheryl.
extremely...
Cheryl after the tree rape.
That's right. Cheryl, I'm sorry. Cheryl after the tree rape. Of course, she was extremely drained, mentally and emotionally. And, Shelley was, because look at her eyes. Look at her eyes.
Honestly, Mike, though, you gotta give it up. Cheryl, once we have the very first reveal of the Deadites, that is a great fucking reveal of your villain. I mean, we got the retarded game with somebody guessing cards, and all of a sudden she starts to nail it, and then all of a sudden, fucking boom, she's floating in the air, and she's speaking in voices. That is a great reveal. She's all fucked up, white-eyed. Great reveal.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I'm 33 years old, and I still jump at that part.
Honestly, that one doesn't get me. But I love the fact that I'm still tense when she hits the ground faking that she's dead.
Right.
And you can see her grab the pencil, and people are walking up, and she fucking stabs it. And Shelley... No, it's not Shelley. It's Linda's ankle. Yeah. And that's fucking gold right there.
Yeah, that was wow. I mean, that's cringe-inducing.
It really is. And that's what this film went for. Straight in your face intensity, delivering a lot of tension, and not holding back when it came to the gore. That's what this film is about, and it fucking delivers. From here on, this film delivers that every fucking step of the way.
No,
right.
it does, without a doubt.
Exactly. From here, we get, the people talking about Deadites, the attack, and we get Cheryl in the basement. We get her point of view, and, obviously the mocking and whatnot. But here's the thing that stands out to me from Cheryl's point of view. There are nails in the trap door. Does this mean that somebody else has already gone through this in the cabin and nailed that motherfucking trap door shut?
Okay, first of all, obviously somebody has. The doctor that made the recording has gone through it, obviously.
Is that the doctor that nailed it shut, though?
Probably.
I mean, that's a very good guess, but this is the first viewing that I really, I've noticed the nails before, but this is the first time that it kind of stood out to me. It's like, oh shit, did somebody really go through this before and have to fucking, with that trap door and the chains and everything, somebody's gone through something like this before. But with the nails, it's just kind of did somebody go through this before and not get the chance to, chain it shut, had to actually, nail it fucking closed. So
I don't know. Is it because maybe you were watching it this time and you're like, holy shit, this time I'm actually watching it for a relevant, important reason, so I better pay attention.
It could have been. I honestly don't know. And I like the fact of thinking that the professor who we haven't really got to yet,
Right.
was so freaked out that he buries his wife in the basement, chains the fucking, trapdoor up and then nails it closed. I love that fucking idea. I really do.
Right.
And to me, it's the logical thing that it's the professor, obviously, but I just love that little hint in this one that, somebody's been through this before. And they've obviously really taken precaution not to let something out of that fucking basement.
Right.
So I really appreciate that. But from here, we only have a couple minutes until Shelley's attacked. We have, the obvious, looking for Shelley. And then, boom, she's a Deadite. She attacks. And we get this absolutely amazing death with a phenomenal reveal. But before that, we even get, the memorable fucking hand scene. And honestly, it delivers so much better than Within the Woods, where, her hand's cut and she just fucking bites off the rest of it. That is fucking insane, man.
Did you see the look on Ash's face as she's doing that?
Absolutely, man.
I
love that.
I wish that we could show the listeners the look on his face, because it looked like he was gonna totally hurl.
Yeah,
it really did.
And I love that Scott, pulls the knife and cuts it like this. This is my solution. I've got this. And then she's just like, the fucking Deadite is just like, you ain't got shit, and just gnaws off her fucking hand and still goes to use it. That is fucking insane. I could not begin to imagine being put in a situation like that. Oh my god, I could not handle it. I would be Ash fucking cowering in the corner, probably vomiting at that.
I would love to hear you vomit.
Well, you just missed it, like a fucking week ago when I had food poisoning.
That's a shame. Yeah.
Yeah. But that is amazing. But I'm not going to lie, that death, when we see Shelley get fucking hacked to bits from her point of view, nice, very impactful. We get the blood. But then we actually get the reveal. And with the reveal, we get that lovely sound design of the squishing and the muscles twitching. And I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. The first time I watched this, this scene right here traumatized me. I believe I was 13. I was fucking traumatized watching this.
You're such a lightweight.
Dude, there's this chick laying on the ground, fucking hacked into pieces.
I was watching this when I was 7.
Man, I don't care if you are fucking invested in this film. Like, if you're one of the people that can put the fact that this was made, obviously, before, high def and, CGI touch-up and all that, if you can actually involve yourself in the film and get past the cheesy effects because they didn't have a huge budget and really get involved, that is fucking insane. The fact that you are seeing one of the characters hacked literally into bits on the floor, fucking nuts. And how many times do you really get that payoff anymore? I mean, from fucking 1979, because I'm giving it credit for 79, until now. How many times do you get that good of a payoff, honestly?
It's very rare. Probably like 1 out of 20. I don't know. Maybe more so than that, even.
No, and I agree, and that's what this one really fucking delivers. I mean, we get Scotty stepping up, taking the axe from Bruce, and hacking her up. And honestly, this one fucking delivers on that death. It doesn't hold back. It is 100% in your face, and anything you could want from this death, it delivers. If you are fucking disappointed, fuck you.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. that I wasn't disappointed at because it proves my point.
What's that?
How about Ash getting beat? I mean, the bookcase really showed Ash something, don't you think?
The bookcase.
The
really,
bookcase, yeah. The bookcase, like, kind of like basically fell on him and threw. You know what I mean? I thought
like
that
everyone
was so
knows.
Awesome.
Everyone knows the bookcase is Ash's arch rival throughout this. This is a long-going joke, Mike. You're bringing nothing new or original to this retrospective. Come on, Mike.
I certainly am.
Oh, okay.
Because
enlighten me.
It proves that Bruce is a pussy. That's what I'm bringing new to the table. Bruce is a pussy.
So
because he took the hit from that bookcase like a little bitch. I'm sorry, but he did.
Okay. So not only is it
ow, the bookcase fell on me. Ow, it hurts. Ow.
So we're moving past just a character to Bruce is the bitch. He took it like a pussy.
Oh, he's such a bitch, yeah.
You, Mike. Here's the deal. You know what? This kid's young. He's not really used to this kind of shit. I don't think many people are.
He's not young. He's in his 20s, for God's sakes.
Actually, I think he was 21.
Yeah, well, still, he's in his 21 is in his 20s, isn't it?
Yeah. And, you know, he gets tossed like a ragdoll into the fucking bookcase.
Yeah, and he's a baby. He takes it like a bitch.
Here's the thing. I think a lot of that's just trauma and shock of watching what's going on instead of just being like, oh, I can't figure out how to get out from this bookcase. I think a lot of that's like, what the fuck is going on? Look, she's biting her fucking hand off. Holy fucking shit. I think a lot more of it is that than the fact that he can't figure out how to get out from the bookcase. So fuck you, Mike. He's not a pussy. He's not a bitch. Because if you notice, he's up. He's got the axe. He's hesitant to actually kill his friend.
He only took the axe because he realizes for him to use the axe and kill his friend that's a pussy move. Because
that's a pussy move.
If he wasn't going to be a pussy, then he would let his friend live and he would deal with them being a deadite. They would let him change him. He didn't allow himself to be changed into a deadite, therefore he's a pussy.
Oh. All right. I'm not going to lie. This is a perfect opportunity, and this just came to mind. I have to bring this up. I'm not going to lie. If I was stuck in this situation, I'm not going to allow my friends to be deadites. And there's actually a point in my life where I had a dream. Mm-hmm. My friend used to live in a cabin somewhat like this.
Right.
And I actually had a dream that I was at this cabin with my group of friends at the time. And for some reason, all my friends were deadite-esque. And I just remember having a chainsaw, and I wasn't, like, remorseful. I was fucking flat out, like, giddy, enjoying it, hacking my group of friends up as they're, like, coming at me with the chainsaw, like, laughing hysterically. It wasn't, like, bad. It was like, this is fucking amazing. I can't believe I get to do this.
Wow.
Dude, I'm not going to hold back. If you and I are in a cabin and you turn into a deadite, I'm fucking hacking your ass up into little tiny bits.
Wow, somebody is fucking mentally unbalanced.
Somebody wants to be the fucking chosen one because, let's face facts, dude. There's a book out there with a picture of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really is.
Certainly it's not Bruce Campbell, so continue.
Fuck you, because Bruce Campbell's the man. He really is.
He's not on this show, so he's nobody to me. He's dead to me.
Oh, and that's the whole reason. But, you know, I'm going to move on, Mike, just for sake of the show instead of continuing this argument.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yep, continue.
Okay, from here we get Scotty kind of running off like a bitch, you know. Linda...
Not as big of a bitch as Bruce Campbell, but continue.
Fuck you. We get Linda turning into a deadite, which... Honestly, I really like this stop-motion scene because it's actually pretty fucking cool where we see it, like, literally spread out from the wound.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
Gumby.
It fucking reminded you of Gumby?
Yeah, because Gumby's stop-motion animation.
Good comparison, Mike. Okay, so we get Linda turn. You fucking threw me off again. We get the cool scene of that. We get Linda turning into a deadite. Ash starting to snap, starting to step up, whatever you want to say. He beats her down like the bitch she is. But he can't really pull the trigger. He gets the chainsaw. He can't cut her up because he gets all remorseful seeing the present. Yada, yada, yada.
That's a pussy for you. Continue.
Fuck you. That is a real man.
Yeah, right, okay.
Honestly, oh. But we get... you're lucky I'm trying to get through it. We get Scotty coming back all fucked up. And then, Linda attacks all fucking stab you with the Kandarian demon? With the Kandarian dagger, And we get the cool scene where she licks the blade clean. Honestly, I really like that scene because it's not like the trailer with the remake where she splits her tongue in half, because that's really impactful. With this one, it's not so much like the, ooh, shit. It's like, ooh, fuck, she's actually enjoying this and licking the blade clean, enjoying the blood. She's savoring it. It's something completely else. It's dark, it's twisted, and I like that, Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they fight. Ash fucking impales her on the dagger. And here's the thing that I have to ask. This dagger has been with the book. It looks really fucking important. She gets impaled with it, and it's like smoking and shit. Well, it was smoking earlier, actually, not with Linda, but with Shelley.
Right.
But is the dagger special? Does it have any kind of like special effects on the Kandarian demons, on the Deadites? What do you think, Mike? What is the whole fucking purpose of this dagger?
Well, if you notice, sometimes when the Deadites get stabbed with the dagger, the tree semen comes out of the skull that's on the tip of the knife.
No, you are fucking wrong. Smoke comes out of that. Like, it'll start to smoke.
Yeah, well, that's
and they're
caused...
like,
but that's
fucking everywhere.
Right, but the smoke is caused by the evaporation of the tree semen.
Fuck you. No, what I actually take it as is I think it has an effect. I don't think it's like as effectful as the people who made it meant to be. Like, I think they probably meant it as like some ultra super weapon against the Deadites. Right. And it's really not. I mean, it hurts them, it has some impact, but let's face facts, it don't down them. The only way to kill a Deadite that we've seen already proven in this film is you gotta hack those motherfuckers up to no end.
Yeah, probably.
And here's the thing that I've thought since fucking watching this for the very first time. When they're spewing that white shit, which, by the way, 2% milk.
Tree semen.
I always took that as, like, pus. And that made it that much more impactful to me that not only were these people, like, spitting out blood and bleeding all over the place, but occasionally they're fucking shooting fucking pus out of their wounds and spitting it out. That made it that much more impactful. It's like, oh shit, look at that fucking pus coming out. That is fucking gross. And I still like to hang on to that naive belief now because, damn, that's fucking gross. And science, like,
well, yeah, because it is kind of,
It is kind of naive. Like, looking back on it now, I realize most likely they're doing that just trying to be like, look, it's not all blood. It's not always red. You can't give us an R for that, right? But honestly...
It was unrated, by the way.
I know, because, yeah. Obviously, this wasn't getting an R back then.
Yeah. This would have got an X all day long.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. I love the fact that I think it's pus, but it's not.
It's tree semen. Continue.
Yeah. Either way, we have a fight between Ash and Linda. He cuts her head off with a shovel, obviously. And once again, I don't get this. He just fucking leaves her. He doesn't, like, hack her up. He doesn't chop her up with the shovel or anything.
Because he's a pussy.
He just fucking leaves her.
Yeah,
all right. He goes back into the cabin. Scotty comes back as a Deadite, teams up with Cheryl. They fight. Common question here. All right, Scotty comes back after obviously being dead. Mike, this has been thrown around a lot. I almost didn't want to bring it up, but Mike, are Deadites zombies?
Well, I believe Deadites are zombies because as in episode 2, the zombie episode of the Morbidly Made, I mentioned
nice plug.
That, of course. But I mentioned that I felt Sam Raimi was a top director of the zombie genre because of his work with The Evil Dead. So I believe that in a way they are zombies, just a different kind of zombie.
I can kind of see that, and like I'm not even really going to argue that, but
they're a more brutal form of zombie. To be honest,
to me, they're not. It's more like it's a possession. You know, they are straight up possessed by a demon, and they're just possessed people. Now, are they alive or dead? Who gives a fuck? They're fucking possessed. There's no coming back from this. There is no escape. You're not going to get saved. You are fucked. So that, to me, I mean, once you become a Deadite, your soul has been swallowed, and you know, they're just looking to fucking kill everyone and make them join them.
Yeah, that you know.
All right, but from here we get Ash, you know, grabbing the Necronomicon, but actually it's the Nostrum Demonto or whatever the fuck, and he throws it in the fire. And for whatever reason, this kills the last two Deadites, Scotty and Cheryl. So, I'm not going to lie, Mike. What did you think of the death of the last two Deadites?
Well, I thought it was very messy. Bruce probably had a lot of fun shooting those scenes. I mean that sarcastically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, covered in that fucking fake blood constantly. There is no stunt doubles on this, so all the shit of him hitting the floor and whatnot, it's all Bruce, so.
Yeah, and I know you love it because you're probably like, wow, he's really amazing.
I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie on that.
But yeah, no, I definitely thought they were very good. I thought they were very impactful. I think overall I will take probably both of them combined over Shelby's or Shelley's death any day. I don't know why I said Shelby. I meant Shelley.
Yeah, good job, Mike. Honestly, I've been asked before on a site what was my favorite death from a horror film, and I have to say this: the Kandarian demon death and the end of Evil Dead. This is my fucking favorite death in a horror film. This is amazing.
Do you think that the end of the movie where Ash dies
questionably
is probably the best?
No. Here's the thing.
Whoa! You admit that Ash dies at the end of Evil Dead? Wow.
No, we're gonna cover this in a couple seconds. Hold up. Yeah. This is fucking amazing. We get the demons fucking ripping through their hosts, spilling their intestines out. We get the fucking bodies of the hosts breaking down, which is really cool. Stop motion. I mean, people. This isn't CGI. It's stop motion. We get the fucking people breaking down. Fucking insects, snakes coming out. All the blood, the bile, the pus, the everything. This is fucking amazing. I love this death. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Right. No, wait. I mean, I was waiting for you to continue there, but yeah, no, it is definitely a dude. It's definitely good shit. It's like a free for all in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and from here, you know, we go to the obvious. Bruce is alive. He walks out covered in fucking blood and gore, and we get the Force, you know, coming through the woods, crashing through the cabin, and it hits a screaming Bruce. And we're left with the question, you know, is Bruce alive? Is he dead? And that obviously gets answered, but
obviously it doesn't get answered, and we know why.
No. I'm going to avoid that for 1 second, Mike, because I actually have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's the thing, you know, we see Bruce screaming a lot and whatnot. What do you actually think they're seeing when the Force is coming at them? What do you think they see? What is the Force?
It's just wind.
It's just wind, but what do they, you know, do you see wind? Are you screaming when wind is coming at you?
Yeah, because it's a pretty big wind.
Here's the thing. I actually think it's like this dark, shadowy, ominous presence that's just like flying through the air at them. And, you know, honestly, that would be terrifying. And I think that's what hit Bruce. and we're left with the questionable ending. Does Bruce live? Does Bruce die?
He's dead.
Obviously he fucking lives because there's a part 2, and we're going to pick that up
no.
at part 2. This argument will fucking continue.
Oh, it will,
part
because
2.
Yeah, it will, because he's dead.
Here's the thing, Mike. Rate this one, and by all means, go over what you think's amazing about it, the gore, anything like that. Go over what you like about it.
Oh no, I mean, I love the whole movie in general. Like I said, from the first time I saw it when I was 7 years old, I can still remember renting it and then watching it late on a Saturday night, and then having to go to sleep at 11:30. And I went to sleep practically 5 minutes after the movie ended. I got into bed, and I could not sleep that night, or the next night, or the night after that, because every time I closed my eyes, I saw deadites. I saw Cheryl in the cellar, or I saw Shelley. So I couldn't sleep for a while after that, but I still kept watching it. So,
dude, you were fucking 7. It's no wonder. It's no fucking wonder at all you couldn't fucking sleep. Holy shit.
Well, I mean, and see, that's the whole thing. But since this is a movie that I grew up with, and it still kind of sticks with me to this day, and I love it. I love all 3 of them, and I'm sure, I'll like the remake, even though, as long as it's not a carbon copy, which I don't think it will be.
I think we can already see that it's not going to be, just through the trailers, but
right.
I could be wrong.
But for the Evil Dead 1981, I'm gonna give it
79.
Well, 79.
I give it credit for when it was made, not released. But sorry.
Well, everybody checks. Everybody else counts it from when it's released. But okay.
Everyone else goes from IMDb, John.
Pretty much. Well, no, I knew it as the 81 date before IMDb even existed, sir.
Touche.
Yes, but I'm gonna have to give it a solid 10.
Really?
Yep.
A 10 from Michael J.
A 10.
All right. Here's the thing with me. This gore is insane. It is over the top. It traumatized me. This thing stuck with me for years. This is some of the absolute most amazing direction I've seen. There are so many lingering shots that are amazing, like when Cheryl and Ash are leaving, the coming up to the cabin shot with Scotty, the fucking shot when they're looking for the bridge and Ash is walking terribly at a tilt, the shot over the roof rafters following Ash, or any of that. It is so amazing. I love it. That is so inventive. So over the top, and, so ambitious. I fucking love all of that. It is amazing. And we have some crazy shit, like the deadites, the gore, the fucking deaths that I talked about. And we have Ash losing his fucking shit in the cabin. We got, the mirror that he puts his fucking hand through the mirror. Insane. I fucking love that. All of that. I fucking love it. And all of this together, I have to, I'm not going to lie, Mike, you're going to hate me for saying this, but this is a fucking 10. This is the first time on a show I've given a 10. This is my absolute favorite film of all motherfucking time. A 10. There's nothing better than this fucking amazing piece of filmmaking. Now, some people may say that, it's kind of surface, there's not a lot to it, but once you look at the ambition, the fucking hard work, the insane camera shots,
right? This
thing is fucking amazing. At least I'm not taking anything away from anyone else's opinion, but this is fucking insane to me. I love it. This is a tradition. I watch it yearly. I watch this thing all the fucking time. I mean, we were doing the retrospective, which was an excuse for me to watch it 3 fucking times.
Yeah.
So, amazing film. Fucking 10 every day.
I'm actually glad to hear you say that.
Dude, it's a masterpiece. And how many times have you how many times have you heard me say that this is a masterpiece or anything like this?
Honestly, I was really wondering what you would give it, because you have like your rating scale is different for some reason than mine is. So,
well, I really try and be honest and fair and straight towards the movie, and in my opinion, I try and give it what I think it deserves.
Right.
But this one just hits on so many nostalgic levels, and there's so much about the direction and the fucking acting, and honestly, Sam Raimi proves with this movie alone that he's a fucking amazing director. With this one alone, right, he seats himself up there with some of the absolute best horror directors.
Wow. Well, no, I totally agree with you.
I mean, there are people out there that have put out better pictures, but I dare you to show me somebody that has made a better directed movie, in this time frame, a better directed horror movie in this time frame than Sam Raimi. I dare you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I will agree with you on that. That he definitely is definitely the better person there for that.
It is fucking amazing. It is a masterpiece, and that is really the only way I can put it. And part of this film, you really have to detach yourself from, the fact that it's low effects, the fact of the budget and the cheap effects. If you can detach yourself from that and really get involved in this movie, it is fucking intense. Oh my God. If you can actually get involved in this and you're not scared or anything and you still find it funny, you're not actually involved in this movie. You're not.
All right, well, I guess if that's all we got, then we will, well, next up, obviously, we'll have Evil Dead 2.